I have always been musical. I mean, from the day that apparently before I could speak, I was singing, my mom would say, and I grew up playing classical piano. I started taking lessons at the age of 4, and I continued taking lessons all the way through the end of high school. It was kind of my senior year, kind of towards the end of high school, that I kind of began to realize that maybe singing was something that I wanted to pursue. And it was always something that I did, but piano had been my primary instrument up to that point. And so then I started exploring more with the writing and the singing, and then I learned how to accompany myself playing piano and singing at the same time, and that really opened up a whole new world for me. A lot of things have happened. I went to college at the U of M, and I was a Spanish and Portuguese major, and then I went into investment banking, and I just knew that I wasn't in the right place, and I was very unhappy, and it wasn't that the job was bad or that the employer was bad at all. I just knew that I was going to continue to be miserable doing something that I just wasn't made for, and so eventually I just had to make a decision. I got very sick actually with Lyme's disease, and I made a decision last winter to resign from my job and move to North Carolina to rest. And I had been working on my second record that I released in September for that whole year prior, and I remember that I was so sick with Lyme's disease that I actually picked up 1,000 copies of my CD on January 31st, and I put them in a closet at my parents' house, and then I got in my car and drove to North Carolina indefinitely to rest and get better. Once I got down there, I actually did get a lot better. I became healthy again, and I came back here in June, and that's when I really hit the pavement getting ready for my release show, and which then happened in September. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey to get to this point, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm like so happy that this is what I'm doing now. Well, it really is a daily grind. I mean, I think I have had to approach it very much as a full-time job. You're constantly hustling on your own, you're making your own connections, and it's, I think, really rewarding, but it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of focus. One of the things that I do is I make friends, and then I go see them play, and then I make friends with the people in their band and the other bands they've played with, and then I go see those bands play again, and just continually focusing on building relationships. And that's really how I've approached my music career. It's very relationship oriented. I love the Minneapolis music scene. I feel like there's always so much going on, and what I really enjoy being a musician is that I feel like here in town people are so supportive, and that's one of my favorite things to do is to go out and support other local musicians. And it's just kind of a small community once you get involved. I would say that my favorite acts in town that I go see regularly, just because they're my friends, is John Mark Nelson. He's a good friend of mine. And then Matt Patrick, the producer of both our records, is in a band named Greycoats, and they're one of my favorite bands as well. Another band I got to open for in November was named Weather Maps. That's a band that was founded by Jimmy Stouffer, and he used to be the traveling touring bass player for the Fray, and he's an awesome musician. I really enjoy seeing Chris Koza play. He's a friend of mine, and yeah, there's just, I mean, I could just go on and on. There's so many great musicians in Minneapolis, and that's just like the ones that come immediately to mind, but there's so many more. I don't really get nervous to perform. I've sort of always been like craved the center stage. And so that, it feels like a very natural place for me, and having grown up playing piano, you know, I would have multiple recitals every year. Like, it's just always been a very comfortable place for me to be. I get a lot more nervous about speaking in between songs. It just really stresses me out. But the singing part, the playing part, like that all is just second nature, and it's something that I really enjoy. I mean, it's just really fun, and every time when it's happening, I'm having such a great time, and then when it's over, I can't believe that it's already over. So it feels like it just flies by. So there's nothing, I think, more exhilarating than performing your music and having people listen.